simple meditation. We've been looking at elements and how we are compilations, swirling elemental structures, just like everything else in nature, and how, perhaps we haven't looked at this yet, but the way that the gunas, for example, the basic rising and falling of activity and growth and clarity and space and lethargy and inertia, and how these the gunas are also in a dance inside of us. So the gunas project up through our own personalities, right? And they're affecting us constantly. So back to the elements for a moment, because the elements, the qualities and traits of us, are what mix to make us who we are. Here in the elements at this time of transition, we're coming into fall. If you were here in the Adirondacks, you would certainly see that we are coming into fall and that there's a big movement inside. So perhaps you're feeling the transformative motion of the seasons changing in your body mind as I am in mine. And I feel, and I'm offering to you, a way to come underneath those fluctuations without being in denial of them in any way, but to gain access for coming underneath and under into space where there's freedom. There's freedom to make choice, there's freedom to perceive without judgment, all of these kinds of things. So when nature starts to really move, if we don't want to get just like, whoa, out into it, but we would prefer to see it, recognize it, and say yes and okay, and we would prefer to have the space under it to observe without reacting, but to be able to be responsive rather than reactive. So elementally, this is the arena of space. So let's sit. Sitting in a comfortable position, you could also recline if that feels better to you. Constructive rest, arms by your side, feet under your knees, something like that. Something where you can feel quite comfortable. And we'll go in first through the density and the dry of the earth. Feel it in your bones. Feel it in your mind. Feel it in your state of being. Simple, present, having come into form. That's stability. Now, the waters flow on the earth. The waters begin to surge and rush through you, and you feel this inside in a very profoundly human way. Your whole body is mostly water, so you can feel this. And what does the water carry? Well, it carries the prana, the life force, and it carries the emotions. So there is an emotionality that comes into our consciousness when we enter the element of water. Rising on the consciousness of water is the expression of our individuality and our individual emotions, fluctuations, feelings. And the invitation in meditation, as we continue to go more and more subtle, deeper under it, the invitation is to say, Okay, yes, and we keep going. And we go into the fire, into the warm, right? Into the luxuriating in the warm of the earth, water, and fire. And again, there's choice. It doesn't need to be this raging kind of fire, but it can be the warm, right? The humanity. And yet it's also the thinking, right? So, oh, there goes the mind. Okay. That too, mind, emotion, presence, that too. And from the fire, we're invited to go more deep into a little bit more subtlety of the air. And the air quality is it's an invitation into space. And yet, if we haven't said, yes, yes, I can take it, I can go through it, through the elements below, the invitation is just not very clear, right? But when we've said, yes, okay, yeah, no, it's not that easy. Oh, yeah, I have all this personality, and I have this other thing, the air, the bright, the light, the transparency that allows me to see with my subtle sight, to see the inner qualities that are arising from the element of space. Deeper in the chakras, it's higher. In the koshas, it's deeper, it's more core, it's space. Space is the biggest thing happening in the entire body-mind structure of you. It is the space into which the radiance of consciousness pours. And it is in the element of space where we have the option, we are invited to notice. So what is the consciousness of space? The consciousness of space is everything possible. Space doesn't make judgment about good, bad, anything. Everything possible. There's a place where we can sit in the space. We sit in the space where perceptions from all of the elements and personality and so forth, all of those perceptions flow in through our central nervous system from the back. We can allow them to come in without resistance, feelings, thoughts, passions. They flow into the back. This is key. Don't take them in your front. Allow these perceptions, these personality qualities that relate to your elemental self, allow them to come in through the back. Back body, back nervous system. As you allow them to come in, sit in the space between perception and response. The information comes in, allow yourself to notice, feel, to enter the space between perception and response. No need to decide right now. You just sit in the space. So I offer this to you as a tool. It's a classic kind of meditation of sitting between the thoughts and so forth. It's an embodied perspective on that process. I hope it's helpful. It certainly is helpful to me. And I enjoy very much offering it to you. Thank you. Good transitioning to us all.